Hello, I'm Tony Howard, the chair of the Pickerington Area Chamber Advocacy Committee, and I'm here to introduce our candidate videos. These videos are intended to inform the public of the platforms that our candidates are running for this election season. At no point in time has the Pickerington Area Chamber endorsed or will be endorsing any of the candidates you will see. We contacted all candidates running for office this season and offered an opportunity to share what their platform was and who they are. So the videos you will watch are the candidates that took advantage of that opportunity.
My name is Vanessa Williams. I am running for Pickerington Local School District. I'm a school board member for the November 2nd election. I believe there are several reasons that have come to making the decision for my candidacy. I am a parent. I am a parent of 4 children, 3 that have already graduated from Pickerington Local Schools. I am an educational advocate. I have been a public servant of over 30 years. And I recently was able to serve on the CAC, the Citizen Advisory Council. And I believe with all of those things, along with being a neighbor and a community person, I began to learn more about our Pickerington local schools and wanted to find a way to better serve at a higher level. And most of all, be able to take us to a different perspective of how we think and how we see things in our school district. I believe we're doing some really, really great things. However, we need to rethink how we do that so that we serve everyone, and most of all, bringing everyone together. So I would say were several reasons of why I'm here today, and those are just a few. So I think in Written Words, our platform talks about cultivating education towards career pathways. We talk about collaborative learning communities. We also talk about commitment to cultural responsibility and responsiveness. And so those are wonderful words, but then what are we talking about in an action plan? What we're talking about is stronger communication between the board, between the stakeholders in the community, between our families and our parents. I have recently finished my coursework in my doctoral for education and leadership and management. And so I find it truly rewarding for us to start taking a deeper dive into the things that connect us. And how do we define that? And how do we define that together? We've done a really good job at having students graduate in the 90th percentile. However, how do we look at careers as far as military, college, as well as our career tech? So I would like to see more connections with us as dealing as a community and within education of bringing those to the learning environment. Our second platform of collaborative community, of learning communities is an example of what we're doing right now with the Chamber. It's finding those champions in our communities, those businesses, the military families, individuals that can teach our kids and provide work experiences that make them better citizens in our community. And then about being culturally responsible and responsive. I believe we all deserve respect. And we deserve to have an open communication. And so I would like to, as a board member, to develop sounder strategies, structures, processes, and policies for communication, because I have found that is a need, is an area of gap in our services. And oftentimes that brings us to discourse, but it can also serve as a sounding board for us to develop solutions. So that is the reason why we came up with the Rethinking Success Together. We realize that not one person can do that. I am asking to be the elected representative, to be the voice, but I'm asking to be the voice of all as part of our actionary plan. If they would like to find out more information about our platforms and the things that we're doing, they can contact us. My email is rethinkingtomorrowtogether@gmail. We are very responsive as far as responding emails of things that interest individuals. You can also find us at Facebook at Vanessa Hayes Williams, as well as on Twitter at Vanessa Haywell. I am always willing to come in to speak to individuals or to speak in groups, because one thing that I have realized, not only today, but in my 30 years of public service, as an ex-felony probation officer, as an individual who has worked in program development, is that I don't have all the answers. And so it is really helpful when I am able to speak to our community, to our neighbors, and learn about what their needs might be. Again, it is an elected position. I am serving at the pleasure of the greater good, of the greater public, and that can only happen when we are sitting down and having conversations of rethinking success together.
Mark Hensen, Pickerington Local School District Board of Education. Okay, so a number of my friends asked me why I decided to run for this, especially since I retired after serving 34 years in the Marine Corps, and I've spent the last 3 years as a nearly full-time substitute teacher in the district in our Pickerington schools. I also love spending time with my wife and our youngest daughter, who's also in the Pickerington schools. Well, the reason is that last year I volunteered for something else with the school district. It turned out to be a citizen advisory committee on diversity, equity, inclusion effort. That effort turned out to be a lot more eye-opening than I expected, so I decided to do some further research in the district through the Ohio Department of Education mainly, and I uncovered a number of issues that I wasn't aware of, things related to college and career readiness, kindergarten readiness, success for all students, transparency and accountability, and finally some issues as it relates to engaging the entire community that made me want to be a more direct part of the solution. Just to elaborate on one of many examples, this one, college readiness. Just 36% of our kids get what is called remediation-free ACT or SAT scores. In other words, college entrance exam scores that enable them to be successful in college without having to repeat high school classes. What's problematic about that is that number was over 40% 5 years ago, and other local school districts in the area, it's anywhere from 45 to 64% that achieve such scores. So addressing all these issues, there's a number of actions that are going to be involved, but the top 3 actions are basically, first, to embrace high expectations for all the students in both academics and behavior. And for behavior, don't assume they know what that means. Teach it to them, reinforce it. Second, establish caring, trusting, respecting relationships with all the students so that they want to meet those high expectations. And then third, provide engaging instruction that involves the kids in their own learning so that they're not bored, distracted, or unchallenged. Those are the things that lead to behavior issues. I believe that my leadership and work experience in the Marine Corps, which included, among other things, developing training standards, formulating policy documents, managing large multi-million-dollar budgets, and making personnel employment decisions, along with my experience as a substitute teacher, give me the leadership, teamwork, and communication skills to help the school board improve the cracks that have formed in our academic foundation and take our district to being an A-level school district. You can find out more about my platform at votehensen.com, Hensen, Hensen, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can over the next month and a half and earning your vote. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Ryan Holstine. I'm running for the Board of Education for Pickerington Local Schools. I decided to run for the Board of Education because I have 3 kids in the schools and I'm extremely invested in the community. I believe that we have an opportunity to reflect our community's values and input on the board, and there's currently a gap in that regard. So I decided to run. My primary goal for running for the Board of Education is to really improve communication between the board and the community. I feel like we can do a better job communicating initiatives and upcoming events, and I believe that we can do a better job taking community feedback and really putting that into our schools. I would also like to streamline our school calendar to make it easier for working families. Additionally, I would like to have a bond issue that reflects the community input, but also gives much needed space for our children to learn in. The last thing that I would really like to do is partner with the zoning committees for Violet Township and the city of Pickerington to give analysis for all new residential developments so they understand the true impact of development on our schools. Anyone looking for information can find me on Facebook, or they can go to my website at holsteineforplsd.com.
My name is Christian Johnson. I'm running for the Pickerington Local School District Board of Education. I believe every great system must allow room for change, growth, and improvement. The Pickerington Local School District deserves the opportunity for fresh perspective, to change with its ever-growing environment, and to challenge the way that things have always been. What I've observed over the past year and a half since I first decided to run for school board in 2019 is exactly the same. Pickerington continues to excel in some areas, like successfully getting our students through a pandemic. However, we've regressed and proven our lack of attentiveness in other areas. A vote for me on November 2nd would mean quite a few things. It would mean, one, where you are also ready as a citizen and a part of this community to show that we're ready for change. It would make me more accountable to you, more transparent, more accessible, and more equitable to all of our students, staff, and community. I am on all your social media platforms at Christian Johnson for PLSD, so that's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I can also be found at www.cjohnsonforschoolboard.com.
My name is Charles Newman. I'm currently a candidate for Pickerington Local School Board of Education. I want to be a school board member because I truly believe that Pickerington right now is on the surface of great potential and a progressive movement with our residents that are moving in and the current residents. And for me, that's exciting as a 2006 alumni of Pickerington, the husband of a Pickerington School District employee, and the father of Pickerington students. It really brings me joy to be a part of the change and to ensure that the momentum needed to make sure this change takes place is there. And so me running provides that aspect to be a servant to our community for generations to come. So overall, you know, when I think about school board, the most important asset that we have, and as a school district, is our students. And so for our students, what I would like to accomplish is to create a district that expands its resources, making a more equitable education system for all students who enter into our doors. And that is done by making sure that we're not just creating and continue to have a system that is a one-box system, but is a system that is a box with a bunch of resources. So that way, whether your plan is to go to college, whether your plan is to take up a trade, whether it's to go to military, whatever it is that you have from K to 12th grade, we have the resources to ensure that students have everything that they need to be able to do that. And so I use the word diversity, and when I say diversity, I not only mean diversity in our students. That's taken care of itself. If you look at the recent census, you know, diversity in this city has gone up across the board. But what does it look like to have diverse educational opportunities? Different partnerships, collaborations with community, corporate, and other organizations to ensure that our children are at best for whatever opportunity that they walk in when they leave our buildings. The second part of that is to be engaged with parents. Our parents are the stronghold behind our children. And I think our parents have been calling out for a long time a district to kind of communicate with them better, engage with them better, meet them at their homes. I want to be a board member that, you know, if you're talking about the district at dinner time, you have a resource to say, tomorrow I'm going to pick up the phone and know that Charles is going to be available. I understand that type of engagement is something hard to uphold, but that's my commitment because that's what we need right here. Now, we need people who are embedded in this community. 28 years living here, I've invested most of my time here, and that investment is based off of what I received from people throughout my years giving back to me. And so our parents and our caregivers, those who are working with our students, looking after our students, they need to feel that. And I'll also say not just parents, but other community members. There's so many people in this community who don't have children, but yet still pour into our schools. They still have to pay the taxes every month, and so their voice matters too. And so we have an obligation to be accountable and transparent to those. And then lastly, the next greatest asset that our district has is our teachers and the staff, the people who go into our buildings, who work every single day. Creating a system where they feel, one, that they can be themselves in the buildings, and also knowing that they have the assurance that the board is going to not only protect them in the sense of their work that they do, but protect them in their future. This is done by ensuring that they have access to training, access to different resources to further their education, to ensure that they are able to teach this next generation of students as the ever-changing changes are happening at a time faster than we ever went. We're definitely in this microwave era where within 3 weeks things can change, but having that proper connection to know that a board is, when they're doing policies and procedures, are keeping them in mind too. And so I would say my overall platform is to create this space on our school board where community engagement is on the forefront and not a reactive thing that we do only when things are looking bad and we're in trouble. If you want to get a hold of me, visit my platform, learn more about me, you can go to www.votecharlesnewman.com. On there, you have the opportunity to look at, I said, my platform, also a little bit history about me. They also can connect with me on Facebook, Vote Charles Newman. I tend to update that every week to give voters, and they can pose questions. We are really working to be responsive to any question that we get. And I promise people, if I don't answer you, it's because I want to make sure I have the right answer and make sure it's something I can stand on and not just a political blurb that I'm giving out.